Hello, and a warm welcome to our Stocks to Watch series, where we reveal to you important updates and insights from company leaders to help you make informed investment decisions. I am Munir Barazi, your business analyst and host, and today I'm speaking with Farhad Abasov, the chairman and director of Millennial Potash, a mineral exploration company focusing on exploring potash on its highly prospective Banio property in Gabon. The company is listed on the TSX Venture Exchange as MLP, on the OTCQB as MLPNF, and on the FSE as X0D. Hello, Farhad. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Minor. Good to be here. Good to see you.
So, exciting news coming in from Millennial Potash. You had previously announced a mineral resource estimate for the northern part of the Banio Potash project, and now on the 20th of February, you filed a maiden resource estimate, which includes an indicated mineral resource estimate of 657 million tons, grading 15.9% KCl, and an inferred mineral resource of 1.15 billion tons, grading 16% KCl. Those results are undoubtedly positive, but how do they compare with similar potash projects?
So, Munir, this is a very important development for us because this covers a very small part of our project, and is based only basically only 2 drill holes. So we're looking at 1.7 billion tons of indicated and inferred resource combined, at 16% KCl based on only drill holes on a very small part of our project. So we think upside potential here is huge. But even with 1.7 billion tons, we already have resource size that can potentially allow us to have a very large production center here for many decades. So it compares very positively with a lot of potash projects globally. But again, as I said, once we expand our drill program there and we increase the resource, we're going to be in a different category altogether. Now, there are a couple of very important things that I would like to emphasize here. One is the thickness of potash deposits here. Originally, we're thinking that it would be about 30 to 40 meters in the northern part of the project based on historical drill data. But as we extended these historical drill holes, we could also extend the horizon. So the thickness grew from 30 meters to about 70 meters on average, which is one of the thickest potash deposits in the world. And also, this was a major milestone for us because on completion of mineral resource estimate or maiden mineral resource estimate, we earned 50% into the project. So the way we've structured the earning is that on each major milestone, we earn into the project. So we now control 51% of the project. On completion of a preliminary economic assessment, we'll earn up to 70%, and then once a feasibility study is done, we'll earn 100% in the project. So it was a major milestone for us, and again, put our project on the potash map, so to speak.
There is a lot of progress already on this project, and the results are very encouraging, considering this is just a small portion of the property. Your report states that the indicated resources equate to approximately 104.6 million tons of KCl, and the inferred resources equate to approximately 185.3 million tons of KCl. With a current spot price of potash at around $387 per metric ton as of January 2024. And despite the uncertainties, this appears to be a resource worth billions of dollars. How do you expect the price of potash to move from this point?
So, Munir, you're right. When you look at what you call contained potash in the ground, those are the numbers. So in other words, we're looking at, as I mentioned earlier, already a very potential large potash production, scale coming out of this project, just in the small part of the northern section of the project. And the prices, worldwide have been pretty steady. I mean, there's a range of course, of potash prices, especially for granular potash. For example, if you look at Brazil, China and India, we're talking about probably, low 300s per ton. If you look at eastern seaboard of the U.S., around $360, $370 per ton. The same problem in Africa, higher prices in Western Europe, 370, 380 euros per ton. So we expect the price to be in general within that range in the next few years. So that means that, with our potential low-cost structure, low operating costs, this project will be probably one of the most profitable potash projects in the world going forward. Of course, depending on the scale and so forth. And we'll see what our preliminary economic assessment is going to show next month. But at this stage, we're quite confident that this is going to be one of the robust potash projects globally.
Yeah, it seems so. It was a long report. Are there any other highlights that you can mention? What excites you the most about this new maiden resource estimate?
So, Munir, two things excite us most. One is the very fact that after drilling only 2 holes, we see a tremendous resource. So imagine the upside potential once we continue with our drill program further, but both in the north and then, of course, down the south. So again, as I said, this is going to put us on the potash map in terms of the large scale of the potential large scale of the project, and of course, because of the resource size. And the second thing is the potash deposit thickness. Now, this I think we're looking at 70 to 80 meter thickness in the north, but potential in the south based on some historical drill data. It could be 100, 150 meters thick. So overall, we're looking at very thick potash horizons, which means that we're going to have most likely lower sustaining capex and lower operating costs because we're planning to do solution mining here. And as you know, with solution mining, you basically dissolve your potash deposit, ore body, potash horizons underground. You pump the brine back up to the surface. You go through processing. So the size or the thickness of your potash deposits is critical to the cost, especially the sustaining capex. The size of your underground caverns. The number of those caverns, of course. So we think this thickness of potash horizons will have a very positive impact on our cost structure, and again, will position our project as one of the most competitive projects out there.
Yeah, absolutely. This seems very promising, as we just discussed. But of course, there are challenges to be dealt with. What steps are you taking to de-risk the project?
So look, we're going through what we call the typical de-risking process. So the first step for us was, of course, to basically process all the historical data that we had access to, including seismic interpretation, which we've done. And then, of course, we proceeded with building the camp and drilling. So we are, I would say, at the stage of confirming the resource. So the maiden resource estimate was the first step. The second step for us would be to continue with drilling in the northern part because we want to increase that resource size further. And then the PEA that will be coming out shortly in the next few weeks will attach the economics to the project, albeit preliminary, but again, we'll have a pretty good understanding of what kind of economic parameters we're looking at, what kind of profitability parameters we're looking at. And then, of course, the increased size of the resource after the second stage of drilling will allow us to go straight into a feasibility study. So the plan for the next few months after the PEA will be to drill further in the north, increase the resource size, in other words, revise our mineral resource estimate, and if it's large enough, and if some of it obviously moves into higher confidence categories, then we will go straight into a feasibility study, probably in the middle of the year. And we're planning to do environmental studies concurrently with a feasibility study. So we're hoping that by the second quarter next year, we'll be able to complete both of those programs. And at that time, we'll be able to apply for a mining license.
This should accelerate the progress forward, for sure. How supportive has the government of Gabon has been towards Millennial Potash so far?
So, Munir, we've been developing this project in a record time. You remember we started on the last March. We already have the maiden resource estimate out and PEAs coming in March as well. So in less than 12 months, basically, we not only have we shown the tremendous potential in the ground, but we're also attaching hopefully very strong economics to the project. And throughout all these months, the government of Gabon has been very supportive at all levels, at a ministerial level, at a lower, I would say, mid-management level at the different ministries within the country, but also all the way at the presidential level too. Because we have met with His Excellency the President of Gabon, whereas he, expressed full support for the project, not only just a general, so to speak, through permitting, et cetera, but also with their specific plans to expand and to improve infrastructure there. And you must have seen one of our news releases in the last few weeks where we're talking about the government's plans actually to extend gas infrastructure into this part of Gabon, which will allow us to tap into it once, of course, we start our construction. And at the same time, we've discussed and we've been discussing the expansion of the existing port as well as the construction of a new port on the lagoon in this part of Gabon that will allow us to actually ship our product out of the country. So in the last few months, we've seen full support from the government, not only through meetings, but actually through infrastructure development. So this is very, very positive. And we think once the project is ready to apply for a mining license, we'll have full support again from different levels of the government as well as from local community.
Yeah, and this is an indication of how important this project is for the local economy as well as the potash market. But let's translate what all of this means to your shareholders, current shareholders, and potential ones sitting on the fence still.
Yeah, so look, I think what's going to happen in the next few months is that this project is taking a clear shape in terms of the resource size, resource quality, and of course economics. And then of course, as I mentioned, feasibility study, environmental studies will actually make sure that the project is basically fully baked in terms of its the readiness for construction. So the value of the project should increase along with the steps that we're taking to de-risk it, obviously. And I think if you look at the junior mining sector in the last few months, it's been pretty depressed. But our stock has done well, despite the fact that there have been some challenges in Gabon. You remember there were some issues in late August and September, but since then the stock has stabilized, has done generally well, and we think that that value that we're building into the project now will be reflected in the stock in the next few months as well. And this is not the first time we see it, because as you de-risk it, as you put the project on the map, and you get more traction, not only with the retail investors, but most importantly with institutional investors as you grow this project further.
Very, very positive. Farhad Abasov, the chairman and director of Millennial Potash, thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of those updates. We look forward to reading the PEA when it gets released and hearing more from Millennial Potash very soon.
Thank you very much, Mani.